Join us each week for some booze-free banter about life without booze.
If you're entertaining the idea of cutting back your booze by a day, a week, a month, or for the rest of your life, we would love for you to tune in.
Buckle up and come along for a ride that may just change your life. Just a heads up, some of our conversations we have may be triggering for some. Reach out to your local resource support centre. If you're in Australia, that's Lifeline 131114.
Breeza!
Maso!
Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so excited about our guest today.
I know. I'm like losing my mind, actually.
So her name's Stace Voller, and she is an absolute hoot.
Like, I want to be her bestest friend. She's like so
and
good.
And you know what? I've had people say when they listen to the podcast, oh, you girls, you're quite energetic. We are nothing on Stace.
Oh, my face is so sore. My cheeks are just, I can't stop. They're so sore from laughing so hard. Yeah, she was gold. She's
got so much. So in the podcast, she's got so much information and advice about sober dating. She shares a cracking shame story. Oh my God, I think it's probably something with one of our best ones yet, I think. Yeah, she's good. It's a great listen. I reckon we should get amongst it, Maso.
Let's get amongst it. Let's do it.
A big warm welcome to Stace Voller on Booze Free Bants with Buddies. Welcome, Stace.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, ladies. I feel very privileged. Thank you.
Where are you tuning in from this morning, Stace?
So I come from the south coast of New South Wales and I'm located in Ulladulla.
Nice. Now, we're not going to mess around, Stace. We are going to throw you straight to the deep end and we're going to go straight into our first segment, which is Shame Story.
You gotta have shame on your name. Shame on your name. You gotta figure it out.
Hang on, I need to tell our listeners to really buckle up for this one.
You haven't said this yet, so you know.
There's no judgment. There's no judgment here. There's no judgment.
I don't know what bombshell you're going to drop at us, but we're ready for it.
Okay, so I was married and I'd gone out on a girls' night. Now, anyone who has children and is married, these don't happen very often. They're like blue moons, right? So I went out and I was really happy. I'm a happy person anyway, but drinking, I'm like really happy, having a great time. Then you can't get me out of the venue. I was like jumping on someone's push bike. They're trying to put me in the car. I'm like, let's just keep dancing. I don't want to go. There's always that one sober friend that has to drag your drunk ass home, puts me in the car. Apparently, I wanted to go to McDonald's. I don't actually remember the McDonald's incident, but there is a story that she tells that's quite funny to McDonald's, but I want a McDonald's. Then she takes me home. I say to my husband, I think I fell in the door, I want to have a bath. Let's have a bath. I want to have a bath. I shat myself in the bath. I shat myself in the bath. I do recall that I was like, don't worry about it. It's fine. I'm in the bath. And I remember him being like, what the actual fuck? What the fuck? And it's like midnight, 1:00 in the morning, and I shit in the bath. I don't actually know if I then emptied the water and rebathed or showered and washed my hair. And to this day, we have never discussed it. We're married, but like we never had like a conversation the next day. Hey, maybe babe, you got yourself in the bath. We should get you some help. You need like some assistance with your drinking.
Polywaffle.
Fucking terrible. I was like, and your show notes triggered that memory.
We're glad we can help you bring it up to the surface and get it off your chest.
Pardon the pun.
Well, congratulations, Stace. We haven't had a bath turd on the podcast so far. So we're in uncharted waters here. Maybe pooey ones.
That's unreal, mate. Thank you for sharing. I wouldn't be surprised if we get a few more of those. You've given everyone permission to just pipe up and go, yep, I shit in the bath.
Let's talk about sober dating. I think we're all here to listen to some of your stories, Stace. So can you
I think it was the shitting myself that
each to their own, each to their own. But
I'll probably never have a date again after that.
yeah. You never know. It could be a fetish for someone.
Yes.
Totally.
Can you remember your very first sober date, and can you talk us through that?
My first sober dating was when I met Jace. So I met him sober, and that worked really well. But even he would be like, babe, just have one. Who would know? No one knows but you and I.
Where did you
that's
meet him?
in 2020, so last year when I was dating Jace, I was sober then.
So where did you meet him, at a pub, or did you meet him through friends?
Instagram.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
slid into your DMs.
Yeah, he went down the rabbit warren.
Wow.
He no longer has social media.
Okay. So did he take you on a date? Did you go on a date for your first sort of meeting?
No, I met him in Nowra and he drives a truck, and at the time we did a photo shoot with his truck. That was like our first, like we'd been chatting and stuff, and I was like, hey, I need some photos with the truck because I work quite heavily in transport with the nutrition that I do with my business. And he's like, yeah, I'd love to. I've got the best truck. You've got to use my truck. Like, I've got the best truck. So
showed his truck the first date.
Totally. And he was like, hey, come sit in the bunk on the back here. I was like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. He's like, yeah, come on. So he was the first person that I met sober, and I actually started a relationship with him sober. But as we came out of that COVID and things started to progress, I think because of his own addictions, he was then trying to suppress on me. And I was like, no, like I was having to fight him on it. And then when I did crack and have the drink, he didn't particularly like me drunk. He didn't like me drinking. And I didn't like me either, like in all honesty.
When you guys first connected, did you call it out that you weren't drinking? Like, did you tell him you were sober then?
Yeah, I'm like super proud of it. I'm like, I want a sober year. And they're like, really? Okay, that's cool. Weird.
No, so
okay.
did you tell Jason, though, when you first connected on Instagram, did you just call it out straight up, say, I don't drink?
Yeah.
And what was his reaction?
That's cool.
Yeah, cool.
Like most people are pretty cool with it. But then they always go, oh, but you'll have a drink on the date, right? And I'm like, no. Like, no. There's only been one guy that I've gone on a date with who didn't ask me, but you're going to drink on the date, right? Only one. And I've had a fair few dates. And that's their like that to me has always come across their own insecurities or their own unsureness of alcohol, and their own like, oh shit, like, you know, they've got to take the edge off, even if they're not big drinkers.
Yeah.
And even that guy who never asked me, oh, but you're going to drink on the date. He didn't drink on the date, but he drank before it. He drank before I got there. So even the guy who was like more comfortable with me not drinking actually drank before I got there to feel more at ease.
There you go, taking the edge off. Tell us about your best and worst.
Take us on a journey, Stace.
Yeah.
I reckon my best is kind of my worst at the same time, as in like I kind of cross over. So this guy had asked me out for coffee on Facebook, and I was like, what's your intention? And he's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, is it just coffee because like you want to talk business, or is it coffee because, you know, you've got romantic intentions? And he's like, oh, well, I'd like to get to know you more. And at that stage, my head and heart was all wrapped up with Jay still, even though we weren't together. And I was like, look, I'm not interested in anything romantic. He said, no worries. Well, then he seen me on Tinder maybe a few months later. So he messages again and he's like, hey, so I seen you on Tinder. So will we have that coffee now? And I'm like, Facebook is business. Tinder is for dating. If I get to you, I'll let you know. So then I got to him. Doesn't take long to get to them on Tinder. And I thought, oh, fuck it. What's the worst? You know, I don't normally date local guys as a general rule because I don't want to have to see them around town. But I thought, what's the worst? So he was quite witty. We went and had coffee. That was nice. He was a little bit distracted. Whatever, that's cool. Booked in the dinner, and then he'd gone to Canberra, and we were real chatty and talking, and that was all good. Then he just went AWOL. He went AWOL on a Tuesday night.
Oh.
He got that pissed on a Tuesday night that he couldn't charge his phone.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, that's not very hot when you're like on a sober curious journey. And then I checked in with him on the Wednesday, like 9 o'clock in the morning, and was like, hey, so either a line's eating your phone or you got that hammered last night, like you don't know where you are or what you're doing. Do you want to cancel the date? So, and he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. I got fried, blah, 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 you know, all the excuses. We'll still have the date. I'm like, okay, because I'm a mama of 2, so it takes a lot for me to do a date, right? Like I got to book the babysitter, I've got to organise, I've got to do dinner for like the kids plus the babysitter and then get my shit together. Now this guy, he had made this big ordeal, right? He's like, make sure you wear something really beautiful. Now,
hang on.
I don't know about you ladies.
Red flag.
I don't know about you ladies or any other ladies listening, but as a general fucking rule, we look pretty hot, even after we've just been running for 21 Ks. Like, we don't need to be told how to look.
Oh,
so he made this big ordeal, like, make sure you wear a really beautiful dress. You're really going to want to dress up. And anyone who does follow me or goes back through the rabbit hole, I've always got heels. I'm always, like, dressed up, other than today. I do apologise. But, like,
I have been enjoying your Instagram fashion, Stace, when I
Same.
I'm like, okay, fuck. So the pressure's on, thinking that I'm going to, like, I don't know, the Royal Hilton or something. Anyway, so the day comes the next Wednesday.
Hang on. Did you know where the date was going to be?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Righto. Yeah.
And there is some really beautiful, like, you know, like $300 a plate restaurants around here. Like there is some really, really glamorous sort of spots. But in my pure defense, me just being me is glamorous enough for these places. I don't need to have the extra added pressure from a date.
You don't need to be wearing a ball gown.
So I had my ball gown on.
Got the crown and the gown.
Got my ball gown, literally, and my strappy shoes, and I'm all really, I was quite paranoid, to be honest. He turns up, he's green. He was that hungover. He was green. There was no flowers. So Jace really spoiled me. There was like, the bar's like up and beyond. There's no flowers. He didn't have dress shoes on, which I thought was weird considering that I had to be all dressed up. Off we go. Anyway, we arrive at one of the quite prestige restaurants and hotels in our area, but there's 2 sections. So there's the a la carte beautiful restaurant upstairs, and then there's the really nice fine dining casual pool bar downstairs.
Down a meal.
So Stace is in a ball gown, all dressed up. My date's green, hungover as fuck. And I'm like, oh, so we're heading up to Rick Stein's? And he looks at me. He goes, the steak's this big. I can't afford to eat there. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is super awkward. So then we go downstairs to the really nice, casual, beautiful pool bar and eat the snacks. We didn't even have dinner. The guy was that hungover he couldn't eat.
Did old mate drink? Was he on the sauce again? Yeah, hair of the dog for old mate. Yeah.
And
He smelt like alcohol. Like, you know when you get that like
Yes.
dry in the lips and the mouth and like that guy just wanted to go to McDonald's and die with his Fanta in bed and watch Netflix. Like I tell you, it took all of his effort to shower and put a button-up shirt on and pick me up. Like he was in struggle town. I'm dressed up in my ball gown.
And you're feeling up and about.
And I love food. I love restaurants and I love food. I come from hospitality. So I'm like, well, I'll be eating this, and this. I ordered all the snacks on the snack bar. If you're going to take me for a date, we're eating dinner. Anyway, the date was wrapped up and done before my kids had even gone to bed. He was taking me home and I'm texting the babysitter. I was half tempted to ask him, could he drop me at McDonald's so that I could at least wait till my kids had gone to bed before I came home. He just wanted to go home and die, the poor fucker. And I was just like, I can't believe you made me go to this much effort and you turn up hungover.
So are we safe to say there wasn't a date number 2?
No.
Date number 2. He got donuts. So we're obviously based in Victoria, Stace, and in Melbourne, I'm not sure if you've heard of it, there is a cocktail bar in Melbourne, which is an alcohol-free bar called Brunswick Aces. Now, I don't know what the landscape is like in New South Wales, but is there anything like that you can potentially go on a date to?
Not a direct alcohol-free bar for say, but all of the restaurants and bars that I've gone to since being on my Sober Curious, because they're all quite fine dining and quite on trend, they have a selection that's better than a lemon lime bitters and a Coke. And I've learned to just really take ownership, and I make it quite funny. So when the waitress comes over, I'm like, hey, so I'm not drinking alcohol because I'm on a Sober Curious journey. Can you make me some wicked cool cocktail that's really funky and makes me look like I'm getting pissed with all my friends? And they're like, yes. And they love that. Like I take ownership of it myself. And or I take the piss out of do you have anything other than a lemon lime bitters and a Coke?
So do you have an adult drink that I can drink that's not got alcohol in it?
Because it is, especially when you're used to going out and having a beautiful wine glass or a beautiful cocktail glass or something, and then you've got to sit there with, the Slurpee cup. It's just like, no, I don't want to do that. And I also found a little boutique Provence. It's called actually Small Town Provence, and she actually stopped in there the other day, and she's got the I missed the brand, but the bottles so that you can make your G&Ts, like the botanic, what are they? Like, like the bottles, like.
They're already ready to drink.
Like a mixer. It's all good to go.
So you just add the soda or whatever. So it's just like as if you were going and buying your bottle of vodka, but you're buying the infused.
Is it called There's Banks Botanicals. That's quite a popular one, maybe.
Don't know. I have to get back to you, ladies. But she also had really cool bottles of kombucha, and she had things so that, because I stuck my head in and was like, all my friends are going to pool parties and they're all drinking Moe. What have you got? Because I can't go to a pool party without something. I'm not turning up and just being the girl who's drinking water. Like, I've got to make my Sober Curious journey look cool to my friends to drink really beautiful, nice, expensive champagne.
Yes, I love it. And I suppose to our listeners, if you want to be as cool as Stace and have some cool drinks, the folks at Brunswick Aces are actually giving our listeners a discount code. So the discount code is FLAUNT, FLAUNT, 10. So number 10. So 10% discount at checkout online. And I think also if you're going to the bar in Brunswick, you can get 10% off your drinks as well. So go Brunswick Aces.
Yes, so good.
They are gorgeous. And I've had those and the Naked Life ones. I've always got the cans of the Naked Life. You can get them from Woolies.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yes.
Yeah. And I had a girlfriend stopped in yesterday and I was like, fizz sticks, or I've got this, and I just put some lime in it and some ice and put it in a nice glass. And she's like, this is amazing. I was like, I know, right? Cheers.
Yeah.
I actually still have bottles of wine in my fridge for those that do turn up. But I don't recommend that in your first year.
Temptations.
I feel more confident like going again, coming into my second year of sobriety, being able to have those there. And I do often gift them away.
Good on you. Good on
They're
you.
a good, oh shit, I don't have a birthday present, or I don't have something for someone.
Yeah.
And be able to sort of pass that on.
Yeah, good stuff. Tell us, just wrapping up the dating stories, what's your best dating advice? Sober.
Stick to your gut instinct, because the things that I would have tolerated pissed, I don't tolerate sober. So really stick to your gut instinct. And the thing is, what I've particularly noticed is who I was attracted to when I was drunk and who I could tolerate drunk, I don't align with those people sober. We're on completely different journeys. And also too, when I look at meeting with someone to, because you date them to then do life with them, those that are drinking after work on the weekends and that's consuming a lot of their time, I don't have time for them, because after work, I might work later into the night, and then on the weekends, like I'm up early and we go for a hike, or I'm running a marathon. Like that doesn't align with the lifestyle of drinking. Does that make sense? Because a lot of people, you don't realize how much time alcohol takes away from you.
Yes, Claire and I often speak about that. You have all this time back.
Yeah. So the people that I have met were who I aligned with when I was like piss days, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so now it's very different, sort of sifting through.
Love that. I love the word.
It's always good.
I love the word sifting through. Is that when you're talking about sort of swiping? Is that when actually
it is?
Yeah. I read an article recently in The Age. There was an article written about sober dating, and I'm not sure if you're on Bumble, Stace, but Bumble have introduced a button whereby you can put a badge on your profile to say if you're sober, or if you're into, like, if you're going to be sober when you're dating. Yeah, so
that's cool.
And I know that, like, the dating apps can be a bit of a trap when you are drinking, because you're getting busy on there, you're swiping, you're messaging. So can you talk us through and give any advice on sober swiping if you are swiping on Tinder?
Oh, well, I took myself off there for a little bit just to give myself just a mental break. Still single and available. So, anyone who listens to my shame stories and, wants to do me.
Yeah. If you've got a bath.
I actually love setting people up, so I'll keep my eyes and ears out. I love playing Cupid, so I will.
I love that.
I'll do some groundwork.
In all honesty, like, I didn't put on my profile like that I was necessarily like sober curious. Does that make sense? Like, I just let it come up sort of naturally. Like, I shared in my profile me and what I was looking for. I've had lots of different profiles. I've had like, I just want to eat at good restaurants and have hot sex, because that's where I was at. Like, I didn't have a lot of time, and I get one weekend of, I call it, my fill my bucket. And so in that, I want to go to a nice restaurant and a nice hotel, and I want to have like adult time with someone who that aligns with. And then, the last couple of profiles I've had, it's like, I'm looking for someone to do life with. So, someone who, they have to be adventurous and fun. I'm not normal. I'm running 21Ks on Saturday. Like, do you know what I mean? So, like, you've got to be someone who, they don't have to be as crazy as me, but they still need to want to be like active and enjoying life, because when, like, and I'm not saying that I would never not be with someone who didn't drink alcohol at all. But when you are drinking alcohol all the time, like when you're in that lifestyle loop of like it's, you know, after work or it comes Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that just doesn't work for me. And so I'm amazed. A lot of men aren't all in that loop, but a lot are. So I've just been really honest. And then when it comes down to, some don't even get to the date, because you can work out when you're having a conversation with them on Friday that they're pissed. And you're like, you know what? Don't worry about breakfast tomorrow. They're already drunk, mate. Like, I don't need to waste my time. Like,
Bye.
see you later. You know what? And not all guys have been hungover or drunk, but a lot have. And I'm not sure if that's like a social economics because of where I am along the coast, like, because it's, you know, it's pretty cool, you know, trainees, you drink, you surf, you know, you smoke, whatever. But the world's changing. Thank goodness.
Yeah. Hey,
You know?
I was going to say back to the article. It was interesting. There was I can't remember who wrote the article, but she said that when she changed her profile to mention the word sober, she got no hits, and the minute she took that off, she started getting, you know, inbox and matches again.
That's actually super interesting, because I think I've commented on that too before, or I might have had that in before. And I've actually said that before. I'm like, I used to get like smashed on here. And now that I've got sober curious or something like that, I've had a lot less, because it's intimidating, I suppose, for some, because they're in that lifestyle where they're drinking, or they're judging themselves, so they think that you would judge them.
yeah.
And I have noticed that, like, I don't have as many friends popping in as I used to, because I'm not the drinking buddy anymore. I even had people in the first year, are you drinking again? No, I'm not. Okay, see ya.
Oh,
Wow. And I think the word sober means very different to different people as well. Like, we're all really proud of being sober. We know what that feels like, and we're happy to splash the word around. Whereas average Joe, and maybe way back before we were sober curious, probably labelled sober as being alcoholic sober, because we grew up with all the celebrities going to rehab in LA because they were addicted. It sort of works hand in hand, or sober is related to being boring. I was like that too. Like, if I was at a party and somebody was sober, I was like, boring. They're really stiff.
Yeah.
No, but being in it now, it's a completely different world. But other people just don't understand that, do they? But I think now, like, this sober curious movement is just moving, like the momentum that is just flying around the place now with podcasts, books, you know, our podcast. It's a real big thing. Like, it's really taking off, and I think people are wrapping their heads around a little bit more. So don't you worry, you will get more hits, girl.
And you know what? I totally agree, because even in my first year, I felt I had to justify and say, I'm not an alcoholic. I've got some really big goals. So I've decided just to see if I can achieve them, if alcohol's been the thing that's kind of held me back. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So because of all the judgment of sober, I did in that first year, I felt the need to justify, I'm not a pisshead. I'm not an alcoholic. I don't have an issue with alcohol. But really, I did have an issue with alcohol. I just didn't know how to express it or control it, where this time round, I feel completely comfortable and in control. And I don't even associate that anymore. It's like, I don't drink. Like, I've got my, you know, non-organic whatever, like, you know, non-alcoholic whatever. And I make that my new identity is I don't drink.
Yeah.
Love that.
And share the journey along the way, because I think found that easier.
Yeah. And I think we're educating people as well.
Agreed.
To be able to remove that label of sober and alcoholic, we're actually just going, no, we're actually just being sober. We're without booze.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's even on my little app thing, I put alcohol doesn't serve me. Like, that's why I'm doing my year, because it doesn't serve me. And you know what? What's the fucking worst? I get to the end and go, oh, well, that was a great year. I'll go get pissed now. Like, alcohol's always going to be there. Like, they're never going to, let's not say never, but I highly doubt they're ever going to take alcohol away from us. Like, they're going to continue to allow it in society. Like, imagine if they'd said no alcohol through lockup, how much worse things could have been.
And I can't see things changing because the amount of money it pulls in for the government, billions of dollars for the government.
Exactly.
I just, I wish I'd known about these non-alcoholic drinks when I was younger, because I would have taken those to parties. I would have been, because I'm so happy and energetic anyway, I could have just been like, woo! I'm going to with my like non-alcoholic drink, been like, yeah! I would have been like, come piss for Stace. Then I could have got up and still run the next day. So I had the hangover, or, you know, the embarrassment of, you know, being with some guy that you didn't really want to be with or something like that because of alcohol.
Or the embarrassment of doing a turn in the bar.
100%. I probably wouldn't have shut in the bath if I hadn't have been pissed. My poor ex-husband. I can't believe we never talked about that. So weird. Probably didn't want to.
Yeah, it didn't happen. Can't even touch it.
Let's not even talk about that. You were my beautiful wife and then you sit in the bar. I didn't even shit in childbirth. It's pretty bad. And we home birthed 2 kids together. Like,
oh wow.
So
There you
he's
go.
literally seen it all.
Oh, well.
But like, honestly, like, the dating's been fun for me because it's a whole different level. It's been a way for me to experience and express. Sex is so good when you're not pissed. Like, when you get to that comfortableness of yourself and expressing yourself, and as long as they're not pissy, because most of my dates have had to take the edge off, you know, like they've either turned up with drinks and I'm like, I'm good, mate. Like, I don't need the drink. Like, that's what you feel you need. Or like I said, the other one, he didn't ask me about it or say, oh, you're going to drink, but he'd gone and had a few before I got there. And I can smell it. You can smell it when you get there.
Yeah.
Like, you know. So, yeah, but I'm yet to meet someone who wants to, or who is sober themselves or doesn't drink.
Yeah.
That'll be
That's
a whole
good.
nother experience.
Yeah.
Getting back to the sex question, because you've sparked my interest now. I just wanted to ask, do you make the first move? Do you throw a leg over, or are you waiting for them? Majority of the time.
I'm pretty direct. So, like, yeah, I have no issues there. Like, if that's where I want to go to, but it's gone both ways. It depends. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of my dating has been guys that have asked me out and I've knocked them back, and then they've come back and then I've gone, okay. And I should have listened to that better judgment because I knocked them back for a reason. And that's what I mean. Like, listen to your gut. Like, listen, if you get those flags before, because that's one thing I've really noticed in being sober. I'm very disappointed if I felt like my time's been wasted. Like, if I've gone on a date, like the guy, I paid the babysitter till 10 and he dropped me home before my kids were even asleep. Like, I was pissed about that. Like, I thought I was getting late that night. Like, I got all dressed up. I was in my ball gown and the guy couldn't even eat food. That's how he was.
Yeah.
I'm like, mate, I want my money back. Refund on this date. Like, it's not fair. Because like, it takes a lot to get to that. So,
yeah.
you know, it's important to be mindful of your time and where you really feel.
Yeah. And you're a woman that knows what she wants. So tell me, we have a little rando, quick question, a bit of a rapid fire, just one question, and you need to pick a number between 1 to 10, and I will ask you. 8's my favourite number.
Yeah, that's the money number. That's my number too, 8.
I love it. Talking about toasted sandwiches, tell us, Stace, does spaghetti belong in a jaffle?
No.
Oh, controversial.
Takes regret, you can't forget. Cellular memory deficit. Takes regret, you can't forget.
I didn't have a text regret because fortunately for me, I'm one of those people, there's nothing I wouldn't say to your face that I wouldn't say behind your back. So it's like, if I said it pissed or I said it sober, it would be exactly the same. So I didn't really have a regret. I've certainly learned through my sober, curious journey that I can deliver information better. Like sometimes in my directness and on my missions, I maybe could have softened blows, and that just comes with growth and empathy and understanding and looking at things. But that, don't hold any judgment on yourself, anyone listening. If you've sent something, but it is true to what you meant, you can rectify it and be like, yeah, okay, I understand I probably could have done it better, but it is what it is. And what they say, a drunk speaks the truth, don't they?
Yes, I have read that multiple times, actually.
So it's I didn't have a text. I'm sorry.
That's good. You've given us so much golden nuggets today, Stace. Hasn't it been a blast, Maso?
Oh, so funny. My face is so sore. Like I can't even speak today. I'm just cacking myself. And I've got some real good. I really love that ownership of saying to the waitress, I'm on a sober curious journey, like make me the cocktail, like zhuzh it up, make it really funky. I love that. I love that control of it. Well done.
And I found in doing that, it opens the gateway for them to then think about things for themselves or to ask you questions and stuff. And it's a way to normalize it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like, I think too, particularly because I come from hospitality, I say to people all the time, I'm like, if you don't get on the sober curious journey, you're going to be like veganism 10 years ago. Like you are going to be left behind. So if you want to move with the trends and, it's like Australia with their coffee addiction, you've got to get on board with it. Like if you want to, you can still have your Reshes and your VB and your Tab and all those things, but have the other stuff too, because you're going to have more people through the door because they want to go out and they don't want to get us sloshed, or they want to have, I think even some of the wines, I know a lot of girlfriends will have that lower alcohol percentage as opposed to the stronger ones. So just catering. And I know it's not cheap. I know, having some of those things, but if they're a good cocktail bar, they can make you a cracking, nice, fancy that even your friends who are drinking will be like, I want what she's got.
Yeah. I think it all comes back to choice, offering choice for the consumer. Thank you so much, Stacey. You have been an absolute hoot. We have loved it, haven't we, Maso? It's been laugh a minute, and your energy, I can feel your energy through my computer. And we are going to wish you all the luck and all the best luck in your quest to find a bloody cracking fella.
Yes. He'd have to be a strong man, don't you reckon? To keep whining and grinding. And now his future wife has just told everyone she shit her pants and shit the bar. On social media, so
now before we go, where can people find you, Stace, if they want to follow your journey?
So if people want to follow me, I'm on Instagram. My happy is loud. And I'm just Stace Voller on Facebook, pretty boring. Instagram's probably the best. I've got a website and a blog coming next year and potentially a book. So fingers crossed for a book. That's my 2022.
Well done.
Love it.
Bloody awesome.
Been amazing, mate. Thank you so much.
So good.
Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you.
Let us know how you go.
Thank you, listeners. Have a fantastic day.
See you, Stace.
See ya.
Bye. Bye. This podcast is proudly produced by our audio engineer, music extraordinaire, Eric Ladd.
We love you, Eric.